Alright guys, what's going on? I hope you're having an amazing day so far. What I want to talk about on today's video is the narrative around men going ghost and just entering periods of isolation because they think it's the best thing for their self-development, when in reality, it's one of the worst things because self-sabotage thrives in isolation. So, the inspiration that inspired me to make this video was I saw a quote on Instagram, and I've been seeing the quote for years. It's such a popular quote, it's just continuously getting recycled, and it resonates with men deeply because they believe in the narrative of the lone wolf, right? The quote is, disappear for 6 months and come back a completely different version of yourself. Now, this quote in and of itself, it's not negative, obviously, right? It's encouraging self-development, but what it's also encouraging is isolation. It's also encouraging like a long period of solitude where the man isn't fucking contacting anyone, right? Like literally what the quote is suggesting, what the quote is sort of like implying is that in order to become better, in order to step into the next version of yourself that's evolved, you need to do that in isolation. You need to do that by yourself. Go ghost, get off the map completely. Don't talk to your fucking friends, don't talk to anyone, like literally just put your head down and work. Now, while this has degrees of truth to it, right? Like the truth to it is, yes, right? There are a lot of things that distract us on our self-development journey. Okay, a lot of things, right? Like I could list them off the top of my head right now, like drinking, drugs, fucking women in a lot of cases for men, mates who aren't aligned with your self-development journey, fucking just distractions, social media, all this shit, right? Like I could make a list of like 20 things straight off the top of my head. And while there are a lot of distractions that come from like the social element of life, there are also things that aren't distractions. There are also things that actually, enhance your self-development journey and will accelerate your growth and development. And specific things are communities of men who are also on the path of self-development. Okay, that's why I don't really align with this whole thing of, just go ghost for 6 months, disappear for 6 months. You don't have to do it in isolation, as I'm trying to get at here. Okay, and in reality, like as a coach, as a men's self-development coach and men's self-mastery coach who's been in the industry for over half a decade now, I can tell you from like a numerous amount of like examples and so just in general experience that when a man enters a period of self-isolation, in most cases, it doesn't lead to this, idealistic, skyrocketed type growth that he envisions in his mind. In reality, what actually happens is self-sabotage. In most cases, when a man goes in this like super long period of isolation, it doesn't actually serve his growth and development, it hinders it. Because what this quote doesn't sort of address is the fact that when we are trying to get better, or in general, just if we're trying to be a good person in general, right? It doesn't even have to be like a period of massive like self-development and growth. If we're just trying to be a good fucking person, what we actually need is to be held accountable. We need to be mirrored. We need to be called out on our bullshit. And we need to actually have people around us that can see things that we might not be able to see about ourselves, about our actions, about our goals, about our direction, about all sorts of things. And that's what the isolation element misses. Okay, so when you're in a period of isolation, especially like a long period, like 6 months, like this quote suggests, you miss a lot of things because no one is there mirroring you, no one is there holding you accountable. You're operating under the sort of like guise of your own perception and your own navigational system. And while that's good, I'm not saying don't trust your own senses and trust all these sorts of things. You should definitely do that. But just naturally, we miss things when we're not being mirrored. Like I used to be the dude, bro. Like this quote was borderline my life mantra. I used to be like, yeah, bro, I'm going to lock in. I'm going to fucking disappear for 6 months. They won't even recognize me when I come out on the other side. I literally had that mentality, right? And then I was like, just realized that it's so flawed. And I didn't realize it was flawed until I actually started to get around dudes who are also into self-development. And then I realized that there's power in collaboration and there's power in social interaction with the right people. I'm not talking even just like, it's the same as in isolation. No, it's like insanely good for you. When you're around men who are genuinely pushing you to be better, mirroring you, holding you accountable, raising the fucking standard you set for yourself, challenging you, all these things accelerate your self-development journey, and they're all missed when you're in periods of isolation. So yeah, if you're the sort of guy who operates under that sort of like ideology of like, oh yeah bro, I'm just gonna do this shit all by myself, lone wolf, fucking lock in 6 months, head down, no one's gonna know who what. Bro, come on man, come on. Like, just face reality. And the reality is, yes, you can make some progress in your self-development journey when you're in periods of isolation. But if you're serious about self-development and you actually want to grow and you actually want to get to levels and levels and levels above what you currently are at and experience success in all realms of life, much higher than what you're currently experiencing, that level of growth it happens in communities, it happens in brotherhoods, it happens when you're surrounded by other men who are also on the same path. Because bro, in most cases, when a man enters these periods of isolation, it actually goes the other way. It actually goes into self-sabotage patterns, right? It's like, okay, yeah, no one's here to hold me accountable. No one's here to mirror me. No one's gonna know that I'm doing the things I say I'm doing or not doing them, right? So I can sort of get away with anything, right? And over time, the standards we set, they slowly erode and we slowly start to slip up and we slowly start to lower the bar. And, you know, we can't really see this because it's hard to pick up on your own patterns when no one's mirroring you, when no one's holding you accountable. So over time, it goes from like this dude who starts out this journey of self-development in his 6 months of isolation, which is supposedly going to bring him all this growth and all this magical stuff. And it actually ends up being some of the darkest times he ever experiences because he's isolating himself and he's preventing himself from actually experiencing all the things he needs to actually experience the growth that he wants to experience. Okay, so let's list out a couple of self-sabotage patterns that tend to come about when a man's in isolation periods. Okay, so firstly, emotional suppression and repression. Okay, when a man's in these periods of isolation, if he doesn't have like a depth of understanding on how to navigate his internal world, oftentimes it's just going to be literally 6 months of straight suppression, repression, escapism, numbing, avoiding, projection. He's not dealing with this shit inside. He's just literally in a constant loop of escapism. That's the first thing. Second thing is like self-destructive habits. So things like drinking, drugs, corn, which is obviously a code word for the thing I can't say because I get shadow banned, Cornhub, you get the gist. Gambling, gaming, excessive social media. These are like some external self-destructive habits that he can slip into. And when no one's there to mirror you and to say, hey bro, this is turning into an issue, or hey bro, I see you're caught up in this a lot as of recently. Do you think it's becoming a bit of a problem? When no one's there to say these things to us and actually call us out, it can very easily go from something which is seemingly innocent and just happens every now and then to something which happens every fucking day and it just spirals out of control. Okay, so they are some of the external self-destructive habits that can happen that we can start to engage in, and it can go from a normal innocent thing which happens every now and then to a bit of a compulsion to a full-blown fucking addiction. Other things that can come about are just like internal patterns. Right, like just patterns of self-doubt, patterns of confusion, patterns of self-limiting beliefs. We can get stuck on a very specific problem and think that there's no way out of it, and we just keep ruminating and circling our heads in the same sort of thoughts, all because we don't have outside perspectives. And even if we're not caught in these like disempowering type internal patterns, like even if we're not caught up in these and we're actually, you know, really confident and we're really on this like positive upward spiral, even then it's dangerous because you're still not getting mirrored. And so it's very easy to fall into this like egoic trap where you develop like this sense of grandiosity and almost like feel untouchable, and you get overconfident and confidence is a fucking amazing thing. I'm an extremely confident person. I respect confidence in other people and I empower men to be the most confident version of themselves. But what I always tell my clients and mates and everyone I interact with to be careful of is grandiosity. And when you aren't getting outside perspectives on the things you're doing and the things you're saying and the paths you're going down, it's very easy to think that it's the right thing to do because there's only one sort of like interpretation, and that's your own. And it's very easy to go down the wrong path when the only person who is like giving you insights and perspectives on your current situation is yourself. Okay, we can become very biased, and we can look past a lot of things when it's just ourselves. So they're just a couple things, but in general, self-isolation leads to self-sabotage. That is one of my key mantras now. I said it once on one of the community calls in the Self-Mastery Society, and it's stuck with me ever since. Self-sabotage thrives in self-isolation. If you're in self-isolation, if you're in a period of fucking whatever you want to call it, locking in or growth or whatever you want to call it, realistically, in most cases, it's not going to be anywhere near as beneficial for you as actually being a part of and around dudes who are on the path of self-development as well. Men specifically, the masculine grows through challenge, through accountability, through getting mirrored. It's going to give you so much more growth than just trying to do this shit alone. And like, guys, put the fucking pride aside. You don't need to do this shit by yourself, right? As I've mentioned in other videos, we're born, there are like 3 stages, right? Which I want to quickly highlight. We're born, and when we're born, we're dependent. Okay, completely dependent. You're literally a baby. You can't do anything by yourself. Your parents don't feed you, you die. Okay, and then when we grow up and we become young men, we become independent. Okay, so it's like, oh, I don't really need my parents anymore. I can do this stuff by myself, and that feels good, right? That's the next stage of evolution. But then there's a final stage, and that stage is interdependence. So it's when we realize, like, hey, I can be independent, and that's awesome. It's such an amazing thing to cultivate, and all men should cultivate that. But after they cultivate that, then they should start to move towards the final stage, which is interdependence. It's when you realize, yes, I can do all this stuff by myself, and yes, I can get to this certain level by myself, but if I want to keep going and I want to keep growing, there are levels above this which, if I want to get to them, it's going to make the most sense to collaborate and work with other people. And that's when interdependence comes into play. So you go from dependent, you're a baby, independent, you're a young man, to interdependence. When you start to collaborate, when you start to become a part of teams, when you start to delegate and all these other sort of things. And that's when you can scale beyond your sort of self. Okay, so this is when you start leveraging other people, and you start connecting with people, and you start networking, and you start realizing that there is power in networking, in connection, in collaboration. And that's reserved, honestly, for the men who can put their pride aside. But the men who have this mentality of like, I want to be a lone wolf or a fucking self-made man, right? And they have this view and they think, yeah, man, I'm a one-man army. I'm going to do all this shit by myself. It's so fucking stupid, bro. It is so stupid. I used to say the same shit. So I'm speaking from a place of experience here where, like, if you want to become the absolute best version of yourself, unlock your full potential, step into all your personal power, that's done in the level of interdependence. Yes, you've definitely made some progress in the independence level, for sure. There's no denying that. But if you want to keep climbing, keep going up and up and up and up, it's all about connection, network, collaboration, joining a team. Think about it like this. It's not like, okay, so yes, we live in like a player versus player social dynamic, I guess you can call it, especially in business. So if you're a business owner listening to this, right, it's definitely like it's a competitive marketplace. That's how I'll put it. But it's not like one person versus one person. You're not up against other dudes. You're up against teams, corporations, entire fucking entities designed and working in union together. Okay, so it's like, if you want the competitive edge, if you want to actually excel, you got to join a team, bro. It's like, bro, I'm not just sitting here saying this for no reason. It's the truth. If you want to scale beyond your current level and get to like a super high level and become who you're destined to be, unlock your full potential, step into your personal power, all these really good things, that comes from collaboration, and it comes from interdependence. So it's just some things to think about. And if you do get anything from this video, I really just want you to remember the mantra, self-sabotage thrives in self-isolation. Because when you're in that period of self-isolation, anything goes. There's no fucking accountability. There's no mirroring. No one's calling you out on shit. You can literally get caught up in a pattern or habit so easily, right? And no one is no one is exempt from this sort of stuff. You know, you can be the most self-developed person in the world and it doesn't matter. It's so easy to fall into a bad habit. It's so easy to slip into a disempowering pattern. It happens to me all the fucking time. Like, honestly, not all the time, right? But every now and then I'll see myself getting caught up in a series of bad habits, or a disempowering pattern or something like that. And I'm grateful enough to have the Self-Mastery Society community. And, you know, I bring it up like, hey lads, it actually gets shown on we have this thing called the SMS Master Tracker. And basically what it is we track all the habits, you know, the things we're doing, the things we're not doing, all that sort of stuff. So it's all like in sight. And it shows up on the tracker, and lads start saying like, hey bro, what's going on here? You know, you haven't been hitting your macros, or, you know, you've been engaging this specific vice, or, you know, you're not sticking to your word in terms of what you said you'll do in business, or whatever it is. It gets shown. And so it's like, cool, I'm being mirrored now. Someone's calling me out on something. So then that period where I slipped off the track, metaphorically speaking, it lasts for like a couple days, if that, in comparison to if I was in isolation, where it would last 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, right? Even longer, because you don't have that outside awareness and perspective to be able to pull us back on track. I cannot say this enough. Periods of isolation, they are very fucking dangerous things to play with, okay? And again, like solitude in and of itself, important, right? Like men should be able to sit with themselves, and they should be able to be in their own silence and not need constant external stimulation and whatnot. And they should have that level of independence, but it should just be something they cultivate and then use every now and then, not something they reside in. If a man resides in self-isolation, not only is he putting himself at extreme risk of the self-sabotage patterns kicking in, which for the most part, bro, most guys are run by these patterns in self-isolation because no one's calling them out on shit. And even, this is a really good point to bring up, even if you are listening to this video and you're like, oh yeah man, I'm not in self-isolation, I've got mates around me, it's all good. It's like, cool, are those mates actually courageous enough to call you out on your bullshit? Or are they actually encouraging your shit, right? So a lot of mates around you, they might not encourage you to engage in self-destructive habits and, you know, just encourage you to be a lesser version of yourself. If they do, get them the fuck out of your life and get around men who are actually encouraging you to be better. But their lack of like courage to call you out on what it is you're doing that's disempowering to you, that is just as bad, almost just as bad, right? So you have mates who will like encourage you to do stupid shit. Straight away, that's a no-brainer. Get them the fuck out of your life. But then you have the mates who, they might not encourage you to do bad things, but they don't say anything when they notice you doing the bad things. They don't have that courage to call you out on your bullshit. Now, that's like passivity, and you don't really, at least in my opinion, I don't want that in the people I'm surrounded with. What I value in the people I surround myself with is the ability to call me out on stuff. If they notice that I'm going down a bit of a bad path, picking up some bad habits, bro, please call me out on that, because I obviously am not aware of it, or even if I am aware of it, I'm justifying it with my, you know, with the internal narratives, the justifying mind, I like to call that. So, as I said, you can be around mates and still be isolated because they're just not doing what real mates should do, which is calling you out on your bullshit and steering you towards a better version of yourself. All right, so guys, in summary, watch out for self-isolation. It isn't the magical thing that you think it is in terms of like disappear for 6 months, come back a bit. Fuck all that. You want to grow, you want to develop, you want to achieve a massive amount of progress in who you are and what you achieve. Get around dudes who are actually all about self-development, who will mirror you, challenge you, and hold you accountable, and set the standard and hold you to that higher standard, okay? If you don't already have that, or if you don't have lads in your life who are up to that standard, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram is Ricky Gauci, R-I-C-K-Y, space G-A-U-C-I. DM me SMS and we can talk about the Self-Mastery Society. I'll literally throw you a free week in there. Come try it out for yourself, and you will be held accountable. You will be challenged. You will be mirrored. And yeah, not going to lie to you. I'm not going to pose it like it's some, you know, sunshine and lollipops, right? It's going to be uncomfortable. But what I can promise you is you will develop from it, and you will grow from it. You will get outside your comfort zone and experience an expansion of your capacity from that experience. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is, if you have this mentality around being the lone wolf and the self-made man and whatever other bullshit you're telling yourself, just know that it's more than likely just ego. And the men that are actually really successful, and the men that are actually doing big things, and the men that are actually scaling and evolving and doing all these awesome fucking things in reality, they're the men who are they are the men who have gone from the level of independence to interdependence. Okay, don't get caught at that independence level. It's a slippery slope, and it's also like an ego trap. It's like, oh, I'm independent, I'm a one-man army, I can do everything myself. It's like, bro, I'm sure you fucking can. But if you want to get to the levels above where you're currently at, you can't do everything yourself. There's only a set amount of stuff that you can actually do by yourself. Eventually, you need to leverage other people. Eventually, you need to delegate and network and collab and do all these really good things. And then you can continue to climb and climb and climb and climb and climb and scale, right? And just on a business perspective, I used to have this exact mentality. Like with my media business, I used to think there's no one who can do events as good as me. And then I had a bit of an awakening and I said to myself, you know what? Not only is there people that can do events as good as me, but they can do them better than me. And you know what? They're not my competition. I want to hire these people. I want to hire that talent. I want to leverage their experience and bring it into my business. That's the mentality you got to have. That's the interdependent mentality. And you can continue to scale with that mentality, but you will not scale and you will not grow to the heights that you want to actually get to if you maintain this egoic, independent view. The lone wolf, the self-made man, whatever else you want to fucking call it, right? So guys, I hope you got a ton of value from this, and just a bit of an actionable step. Just self-reflect right now, right? Like pause the video or even do it right after this video and just think to myself, where in my life am I actually being held accountable to a higher standard? Am I getting called out on my bullshit? Am I being challenged? Am I being mirrored? Do I even have these elements of brotherhood in my life? Or am I trying to do this shit all by myself? And if you are trying to do it all by yourself, bro, reach out to me. This is what I do. I've created an amazing community. And I'm not just saying that because it's my community. Like, it's fucking awesome. It is phenomenal. Anyone who enters this community automatically starts to fucking level up because it's the power of proximity. You're around men who are fucking on their game. They're leveling up. They're committing to their highest potential. And they're dedicated to personal excellence. And when you're around those sort of guys, what do you think is going to happen to you? You're also going to do the same. So, guys, have an amazing day. I hope you got a ton of value from this video. Do all the good things. Like the video, comment, subscribe, share it with your mates, do all sorts of good things. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you.